deserves as we roll out the red carpet for sponsors and advertisers to join us in the spirit of Easter. Are you a business owner, service provider, or visionary sponsor? This is your chance to make your brand the toast of the season by creating a memorable celebration for all. Take advantage of our widespread reach across multiple platforms for affordable sponsorship and advert packages to reach millions of eager viewers and listeners. For sponsorship and advert placement, contact the Easter Committee Chairman at Room 18, Iliakede, BCOS, Orita Basharun, Ibadan. Or
You're very much welcome to Matters Arising on BCOS Television, Iliakede, Orita Bashomu in Ibadan. And this is how we do it every Tuesday. Yes, of course, you know that we discuss issues. Yes, contemporary issues. Talking about agriculture, security, politics, the economy, and all other related issues that is related to the welfare of and the well-being of our people in the country, our country, Nigeria. And of course, you know that we also invite guests, eminent personalities, yes, on the program. Today we'll be talking about, you know, it's election year. The election year is just approaching 2027, and the date has already been announced by the federal government through the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. And of course, today to discuss the issue, I have in the house, yes, I have in the house, two eminent personalities. Yes, Professor Babatunde Adegoke, is a public affairs analyst. Yes, he's not new on the program. You're very much welcome.
Thank you very much.
And of course, Rotimi Johnson Ojasope is a political analyst. He's not also new to the program. You're very much welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, today we'll be discussing the 2027 polls and the issue of the e-transmission, real-time transmission. I mean, the advanced kind of transmission when elections, results of elections are about to be, announced, or when the elections are finished, the transmission will just, I think forwarded to before the analog type of the coalition is brought back, so that they will be collated and, just reconciled to know whether there was any kind of misconduct, rigging or so. There, I think that is part of it. But yes, I have the guests in the house. My name is Bimbo Akombi, and yes, you can just watch us on BCOS TV Live on Star Times, channel 113, and Go TV, channel 134. And of course, terrestrial, channel 28 UHF, like you all know, and live streaming. Yes, we are live streaming on facebook.com/BCOS TV and YouTube, BCOS TV YouTube channel. You can check us out. You'll meet us there. Yes, before I start the questions, let me quickly go through some write-ups here, some excerpts of the write-ups about the, excerpt of this write-up on the elections, the e-transmission of elections. Some are against, some are for. Some are saying that we are not right for the e-transmission process. Some are saying we are right, that Nigeria must not stay in one place. We must not be, retrogressing. Like one chief, he did a song, a small piece. He said, he told the history of Nigeria. He said, where are we going? He said, one step forward, two steps backward. So I now calculated it. One step forward, two steps backward. That means we are still in one place, or they will still be in one place. That is all it means. So Some are for these transmission, yes, and yes, we'll talk again about the over 1 trillion naira, INEC budget, yes, combined budget. We'll talk about it. Now, let me just go through this right up here. Yes, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, submitted 2 budgets to the National Assembly, and that includes an 873.778 billion naira for the 2027 general elections and 171 billion for the 2026 fiscal year. Well, my panelists, they will explain all those. The 2027 election budget is broken down into election operational costs, 375.748 billion naira, election administrative cost, 92.317 billion naira, election technology cost, 209.206 billion naira, election capital cost, 154.905 billion naira, and miscellaneous expenses, 42.608 billion naira. And the 2026 budget, on the other hand, is intended to cover routine operations, including by-elections and off-cycle polls, with breakdowns including personnel costs, 109 billion naira, overheads, 18.7 billion naira, election-related activities, 42.63 billion naira, capital expenditure, 1.4 billion naira. And yes, the 2027 polls, yes. Why the argument? Why the argument surrounding the the controversy surrounding the 2027 polls in Nigeria? It is centering on the Independent National Elections proposed budget of the said amounts. Yes, and well, it goes on and on. The argument is fueled by the fact that concerns over funding mechanisms, yes, and the effectiveness of the e-transmission in ensuring transparent and credible elections. Well, yes, the budget breakdown has been explained here in this write-up. So I want to start with these questions. INEC has proposed a combined budget of over 1 trillion naira. Like I broke it down. And in the context of Nigeria's current economic realities, how should Nigerians, interpret this figure? Necessary investment in democracy or fiscal excess? Yes, Prof.
Well, thank you very much. I want to say that sometimes it's difficult to assess whether something is too costly or not costly enough, especially if you have not gone through that part before. For instance, if you ask somebody who has never owned a car, that somebody is buying a car that is worth 13 million, we are talking of somebody who has never even gathered together 10,000 naira. So 13 million is a lot of money and is a waste. But to somebody who has used a car before, may just say you can rationalize to give you the comfort you need. So coming back to the election thing, I think the people that can tell us whether we are spending too much or too little will be the people who have handled it. Now, if you look at, just as the excerpts that you gave us, the breakdown of the spending, they mention operational cost, and then they mention technological cost. And if you look at that breakdown, both the operational cost and the technological cost actually represent more than half of that budget, the budget for the election itself. Okay. The other thing that is also there will be election, something, I think election capital cost, and then they mention something miscellaneous. I think what we can interact with is this breakdown to what extent do we need as much money, especially in view of where we are as a nation in terms of economy. But at the same time, we should also appreciate the fact that we cannot expect that what we spent in 2023 will still be realistic in 2027. It cannot be, because we know so much has happened between 2023 and 2026 or 2027, especially in terms of exchange, forex.
Yes.
And if that is the problem, and given that some of these things that we'll be using, especially technology, will be imported into the country, so we expect that some of these will cost more, and therefore we may need to spend more. So let me stop there.
Yes, Mr. Ojasope, Rotimi Johnson Ojasope, how do you see this? Let's first talk about this e-transmission. Can it really work? Can it work in Nigeria?
Well, thank you for that question. E-transmission, I think we have passed asking if it will work, because it has worked before. And if it has worked before, then why can't we make it work again? I participated in the last election as a candidate for rep, and I know that the results were transmitted electronically from the polling units for the Senate and the reps. And there were no itches, no glitches for that. It was only for the presidential that we had stories. So we have done it before. So until INEC shut down the server, there were no problems. So the issue we should be discussing is what will not make INEC shut down the server again. So it's not issue of can it work.
But they are trying to use another technology, new technology now.
No, we are not using a new technology. It's the same technology, but the constitutional provision for that procedure is what is being debated. Now, the National Assembly is supposed to not make it optional, in which case, when INEC shut down the server, INEC reverted to the use of the normal manual method. That was supposed to be a backup in the electoral law. So what is being debated now is that, look, we don't want that backup. Let it be fully mandatory electronic transmission of results from the polling units. And that we have exercised before, but not fully. So the debate is like, look, make it full operational and not any backup of manual, because the manual is subject to a lot of manipulations and machinations.
How about the transition, digital thing? Humans are the ones operating the equipment.
For the 2023 elections, there were no evidence whatsoever that there were alterations or manipulations with the uploaded results. No. It was the whole thing and the supplementary results through the hard copies that were being fought. But the court ruling, the Supreme Court, said the INEC is not mandated to use electronic transmission only. INEC has the right to also use the manual method as the backup. So the debate now is that, look, remove that clause that gives INEC the option of using that manual backup. So that's what is being debated.
Okay. Can I contribute?
You want to? Yes.
Yes. I think there are two issues. We are talking of real-time transmission.
Yes.
And mandatory. Mandatory means that anywhere you find yourself in the country, you must do that e-transmission. And we all know the situation in which we are in the country presently. I may, just as I'm sitting here, I may pick my phone, there may be no network. So what happens? So if I voted now and it has been collated and that cannot be transmitted because of failure of network. Now, when somebody gets to court after, when I lose, what will I say? You are supposed to transmit real time. Did you transmit real time? Mandatory. That's why both the Senate is saying that, no, don't make it mandatory. Making it mandatory when we know that there's areas in Nigeria where there will be no network.
That is it.
So, does it mean those people are not entitled to vote? When they vote, how do you get their own votes across? So what happened in the last election was that after the form, BC, whatever they call their form. Now, that form
EC8
EC8 or whatever, that's the form that has the result collated and the agents of the parties have already signed. That's what they were transmitting. Okay? And that one will still go to, after the polling unit, they go to ward unit. Because before they go to local government, it's not as if the result goes directly somewhere. And it's so easy at Senate level because you are dealing with smaller area. When you are dealing with the whole of Nigeria, it's not like that. And by the time you are sending so many many data across, in fact, the computer itself may face problem. So that's the issue that they are raising now. And that's why some people are saying, no. How many countries presently are using real-time transmission? How many? You can count them out. Even the most advanced countries in the world, they are not doing it.
They don't, yes.
America is not using it.
Yes. Britain is
not using it. And to worsen the situation, Elon Musk even campaigned against it, saying that the computer can be hacked. And the last thing, I saw a video where you have a gathering of young people from across the Niger with a presidential candidate there. And they were discussing that they were just saying, just give us the go ahead. Whatever, we are going to deal with the thing and you win. So where do we go from there? We have not even done the election. Some people are already assuring. So that means anything being sent across can be interrupted and altered before it gets to its destination.
Yes,
that's the problem with that some people are saying. That they are saying real-time transmission, mandatory transmission is not good for the country. It's going to cause us more problem than where we were. But what we had before, we should maintain that. And what we had before is that, yes, when there is network, make a copy of whatever the results and send it so that you can have it for backup in case of dispute.
That was what I said. Humans
will
operate these e-transmission, real transmission instruments. Yes.
Well, I just want to shift this in. The video circulating about Elon Musk was AI generated. It's not real. In fact, I just did a fast check with it now.
It's not even the video. I didn't go through the video.
I saw the video. No. Now, let us understand what happened in 2023 so that we understand the issue now. In 2023, this technology was deployed. And till today, nobody has come out to complain that in my polling unit, there was no service. There was no transmission. So the issue is not about the transmission. Now, when politicians gather, we always look for reasonable, so to say, excuses to evade pertinent issues. So the issue here is not about the transmission. It's about leaving room for manipulation. Now, on the day of election, this is what happens. Because when you're talking about server, you're not just talking maybe about laptop or just one item. When you're talking about hacking hacking is not new. Even your WhatsApp can be hacked.
Yes, of course.
Because of that, stop using WhatsApp? Do you? No. You do two-way authentication, you do security on it. Even the Pentagon is being hacked per second, per hour. Would they shut down their server because of that? No.
That means it's not foolproof against what we are trying to
That
prevent.
there is
It's
an
not foolproof.
attempt of hacking does not mean it is successful. That's what we should understand. If 12 million people attempt, if there were not 12 million, if there were 12 million attempts on the server of INEC and they were not successful, then it was well prepared. INEC shut it down, not that the hacker succeeded. So what are we talking about?
They shut it down to prevent.
No,
Why they shut it
that
down?
is not technologically correct. You don't shut down your system because hacker has come in. You don't. Do you destroy your car because you think a thief will steal it? You don't do that.
They should leave it.
No.
For the hackers to do their
The
job.
protection on the server was more than sufficient. That was why it could withstand 12 million. If that story is true,
Suppose the
that
next one
story
is
was
not
not true. You know what it takes for 12 million attempts in 24 hours? That was bogus. And you don't shut down server because there were attempts. So if now somebody attempts to hack my WhatsApp, and fortunately I discovered and it was not successful, will I delete or uninstall my WhatsApp because of that? It's not reasonable. We need to ask the pertinent questions. When you're talking about technology, an attempt does not translate to successful hacking. So now, banks, they have a lot of attempts to defraud them. Do they shut down their banking halls because there were attempts? Even in the history of Nigeria, there is no bank that has been shut down for 1 week because there were robbery attempts on the bank. So what are you talking about? We are talking about the destiny of this country. We are saying that we politicians, we don't trust ourselves. So don't give room for manipulation. Don't give room for alteration of results. Make it real time. And we have done it before. What does it take? There is no place in this whole world that you want to have internet. You just need money to purchase. So what are they talking about?
Yes,
So
sir.
presently, do we have that
We have it.
in every part of Nigeria?
Yes. The last election, there were
How
none.
far did you
And
go?
if,
You can only talk about where
sir,
you voted.
sir,
Because what
when people are disenfranchised, they complain. When people are disenfranchised from voting, they complain. Even if the people don't complain, the candidates will complain. Are there any complaints like that?
No, it's not
No.
about being disenfranchised. We are talking about have been allowed to vote. Was the collation, was it transmitted real time? That's the issue. I think
Yes.
that's where the issue is. It's nobody's against it. They use bimodal verification or whatever they did that time. Yes, just Viva. It was used. Why? To improve the integrity of the election. They did that, and that means at the end of the day, if 100 people were accredited and we have 200 ballot votes, then there's a problem. So at least that one can counterbalance each other. We are moving. They say the only country right now that is using India, yes, but India has a peculiar voting machine that doesn't go through the network. So, and because it doesn't go through the network, it cannot be hacked. If anything happens to it, it's the electoral people that have done it. So that is the issue. If we have to do it, then we have to do it properly, not something we have to rush. At this time, okay, by this time next year, the election is already on. If we are going by the original timetable, election starts in February, right?
Yes.
And in fact, now, right now, they are talking of moving it, shifting it a little bit earlier.
Yes.
So that means we have less than 1 year to the election. Can we get all that we need that will ensure mandatory real-time transmission in place before then. If we cannot, and for me, I know we are not likely to be able to do it, especially given that in some parts of Nigeria right now, when you get there, you are not able to use your phone until when you move to another area. So what happens to the votes of those people in those areas? What will happen to their votes?
Except they move from that location to
another
location.
So that's the issue.
Talking about you talked about the Indian issue, a particular machine that is not linked to the internet. Yes, one of my guys, we were talking. He now said instead of using these the normal ones they want to use now, they should stick. If INEC is ready to spend the money judiciously, the satellite. Yes, but I'm not too sure, because we used to have, I don't know whether it's still operational now. Nightcom Sat 1, 2, 3.
It's still there.
That it should be put into use.
In fact, they said it just upgraded it recently.
If it's still around anyway. Now, looking at the breakdown, particularly the 375.748 billion for operational costs, what does that operational cost mean to the layman?
Well, for me, I don't know what it is. It is for them to tell us what is operational cost. In fact, that was what I was saying in my intro. Because you find out that there's so much overlap between those 4 or so areas that they have defined. We have operational, administrative, technology,
overhead.
So all those things overlap. So by the time you bring all of them together, then we find out that what they are saying in A is already included in B. And therefore, they cannot justify some of the spending that they have there. But like I said earlier on, this is where the people should come in. Not the total budget. Let's look at the items. And then let them justify how much they have voted for each of those items. And if there is no overlap between A and B and C.
Yes, you want to contribute to that?
Well, I beg to differ on this issue of budgets for INEC, because I think we are distracting ourselves, asking and trying to peruse or scrutinize INEC's budgets. We've never had complications or complaints from any election for lack of funding. It has never happened. Our concern as citizens should be the credibility of the election. What can make it credible? If INEC is going to spend 1 trillion, as long as they give us credible election, I think it's the procedure that will ensure the credibility of the election we should be scrutinizing. And that should be our focus. Because their administrative, operational, logistic, whatever, many of us, we don't know the details. And of course, they can permutate and pad and do whatever. But what the outcome will be the credibility of the elections that will determine the fate of Nigerians for the next 4 years. I think our focus should be more about how credible is this election going to be. It is the credibility of this election that will encourage people to come out. That's when we won't have apathy. But when even approaching the election, the political gladiators, they have their doubts. There is trust deficit. Then the turnout will even be low, even lower than the last election. So that's my opinion on that.
Yes, sir. Let me ask you again, one more time. Talking about this operational issue, operational cost. In my opinion, I think it might include maybe movement of sensitive and non-sensitive materials. Like vehicles, official vehicles of the electoral umpire, the body. I remember maybe I might be young then, FEDECO, then they had vehicles that are purchased for them. We had NEC, National Electoral Commission. They had vehicles that we see. And then growing up, we had covered elections.
Can I even add to that for you? Even I know INEC, they contract flights for the logistics of the election.
Yes.
Maybe about 2 weeks before the election, moving about cargo flights, I mean.
Yes, I
so
understand.
a lot goes into that.
Yes.
But, you know, the credibility of the election.
Elections. Yes, but is it right? INEC used to have INEC used to have vehicles. We used to see it in their office compound, brand new Tata vehicles, and some mini buses, mini trucks. At the end of the day, they disappeared. Now, when they want to move materials, they will now be hiring NURTW buses to, transport non-sensitive and sensitive materials to election sites. And at the end of the day, sometimes things happen. I don't know, is it right to you?
Well, when you look at the peculiarity of Nigeria, you know that if government buys buses and vehicles for INEC, after the election, you said they will disappear. So who manages it? When we are talking about INEC budget, INEC doesn't suffer for money in the election year. They have all they want just to make the election happen. What happens after the election? It could be difficult. Government agencies have problem maintaining vehicles and other operational items. It's peculiar to us. So if you're going to hire buses, and there will not be manipulations, just like you have said, if you have hired NURTW bus, and the NURTW chairman in that state is loyal to someone, how can you guarantee that after the election and is carrying the bus, the materials to the collation center, how can you guarantee that he won't branch somewhere else before going to the collation center? So those are the issues. Those are the issues. We don't have strong institutions. We don't have security agents that can query the buses that have been hired for the logistics of the election that, look, you must go to this particular destination unfailing. We don't have all those. We don't have. The only thing that can bail us out is technology. The fewer the human interference in our election, the better for everybody.
I think the problem we have as a people, especially among the politicians, is this trust issue. Once you are not the one doing it, well, once you are not the government in power, whatever the government is doing is wrong. Until when you are there. So right now is APC. If APC goes out, another party comes in, APC will become the opposition and we start criticizing and be saying, what do they need this for? We don't see things clearly as a people. This is for the progress of our country. Let's follow this path. As long as we have this distrust, there's no time, no matter what we use, our election results may not be acceptable. Find a situation where somebody already knows that even within himself, within their compound, if an election is conducted, he's not likely to win that election. When he's defeated, he'll be blaming the umpire. When he knows that there was no way of him winning. Look at the last election, the presidential election. Now, the result. In how many polling booths did they have polling officers for his party? Now, if you are not complaining of rigging, where are you going to get the evidence from? You don't have too many people contesting as rep, as senators, who are likely to also campaign for you, and you want to win a nationwide election. It doesn't happen that way. But we don't face reality. Some of the people that he thought were going to vote for him, they interviewed one lady, several of them. Where is your voter's card? I vote online. You don't vote online. And the people that will vote, they are the rural people. So when you do polls and you say, if the election is conducted today, this candidate A will win by 70%, who did you conduct your polls on? The learned, the people that use the internet. The majority of the voters, they don't have access to the internet.
So, Mr. Ojasope, should democracy in Nigeria be this expensive? You mentioned some points as you were talking the other time. I mean, the process for elections, should really be this expensive at this time?
Well, experience has taught us that the expenses of election keep multiplying at every dispensation. So, and poverty has been so much weaponized that is whoever has, how do I describe it? Let's say, is to the highest bidder. To pick the ticket is to the highest bidder. To win the election is to the highest bidder. So as long as these factors are there, because the electoral process has been a bit sanitized, such that the issue of multiple voting have reduced. So it has also increased the influence of money. That's why the issue confronting us more now is the issue of vote buying. Because the issue of multiple voting has been reduced to the barest minimum due to technology. So, but because there is vote buying, every politician that is hoping to contest in any next election is accumulating as much as possible. So, for those who render services, vendors, for politicians for the election too, even in BCOS, electoral adverts are more expensive than religious adverts in any media station.
Yes,
so that's the same thing.
That is normal.
The same question you ask, you now ask you. So why? Why? Because we are going to serve. We are supposed to pay you more? No.
Talking about that.
Are we not supposed to going to serve? So that's just it. It's a shared reaction. Are we not serving the country together? You understand? But even when you go to the market, you want to buy carrots, you want to buy yam, as soon as you identify yourself as a politician, you're going to pay more.
Yes, of course.
Anywhere, you pay more once they know you're a politician. Why? You have stolen our money, you are going about with a lot of money.
We are going to collect it.
We are going to collect our own share. Even if you have a change to collect, you buy maybe carrots, 200 naira, you give the seller 1,000 naira. And while you are still collecting, somebody greets you. He will not give you the remaining 800 naira.
Yes.
Honorable. You understand? So it will continue unabated.
Yes, talking about that vote buying now. Yes, in the past, I know because I had covered so many elections. They bring all those politicians, the candidates, their agents, they bring raw cash to polling units, giving people, yes, that will vote for. So like 5,000. But now, vote buying, can it really be, subdued? Because now it is transfer. It is transfer. So I don't know how that one can be checked. I don't really know because it will still continue. I don't know how it will be checked.
Well, I think education, we have a great role to play if you are going to eliminate that kind of thing. But besides education, he mentioned something, poverty. Poverty, when people are poor and they feel this is the only way they can get something out of government, and they are ready to sell their vote for as little as 500 naira or even 1,000 naira. They don't care that, after all, after the election, I'm not likely to see him again. So at least I will get something for my effort.
Yes, to eat for that day.
To eat for that day. So poverty is playing a very great role in this. And until when the poverty situation of the country increases or improves, we may not be able to checkmate vote buying. And like he also alluded to, when someone is hungry, they say when you are hungry, all you care about is where the money will come from. It doesn't matter how it is coming in. You just want to eat. So, and that's why we are finding it difficult to checkmate vote buying. Like you have said, they know they are monitoring, so they hardly bring cash now. They do transfer. In fact, some of the transfers will have been concluded the day before the election. Not just
that day.
Yeah, they are just assuming that you have given us awards and we believe you are going to vote for us. Whether you eventually vote for them. You know, before, when you vote, what they do in they are monitoring you at the polling booth. Somebody is watching. You do something like this. Somebody has already seen the person you voted for. So you come out, you collect your money and you go. But they know that EFCC and the other people they are around now, they monitor them. So they don't do that again. It's getting more and more sophisticated. I think what we can hope for is that with time, we can reduce vote buying. Well, it wasn't there before. It wasn't in that form.
Yes.
But now it is there. So we should look forward to a situation where we can reduce vote buying so that at the end of the day, the results of our election will be more credible, that people actually voted for somebody because they feel is in a better position to solve the problem of the state or nation.
Yes, Mr. Ojasope, so what mechanism should you think can be in place, to ensure value for money in electoral spending?
We have to first define the value. What value are you expecting other than credible election, like I said earlier?
Yes.
So, and in fact, the fact that we are even debating this issue at all is a vote of no confidence on the Senate and the House of Rep Committee on INEC, because they are supposed to scrutinize on behalf of the public, and we have not seen any sign that they have even done a very good work in that area. So that being said, but to get value for money is just to insist on credible election, because for what they purchase, for the overheads and the running costs and whatever, it will take serious dedication to be able to scrutinize and know. But the utmost outcome for Nigerians is credible election. And I will tell you, when we had 1993 election, why was it acclaimed to be the freest
and fairest?
Because from the polling unit, everyone knew the results. Immediate results. So what we are agitating for 2027 is just a digital A4 from everybody from the polling unit will also know the result. That's just it. So that's the best way to know the value for money.
Isn't that in place right now?
To know the result.
At your own polling booth, you will know who won the election. There's no doubt about that. I still recall that in when was that now? The time of Ajimabi. Was it
2023?
2015.
The last because I was part of the discussant in the studio. And I was taken to Bashorun Ojo to go and vote. And right there, I came back and we were discussing. I knew the result of the election where I voted. I talked to some of my neighbors where they voted. And I was confident to say that we are going to have history being made through that election. That we are going to have a second time governor. I didn't say more than that. But I knew what I had in mind, because I knew who was winning. So it's the same thing right now. When you vote in your polling booth, especially if you stay around, they will count. And at the end, they collate. So at that polling unit, at least you know the winner. That's why people can always say, oh, he lost in his own polling unit. How did they get to know? Because it was counted.
But, well, you will believe that you have won. But
in your own polling unit.
Yes, I know. That person, that candidate,
yes,
to you, he might have won to you, but INEC hasn't announced the result.
Yes, because you can't announce result based on result of one polling unit.
Yes.
In fact, you can't announce result based on your result in the world. Because so many words make local government or something.
Yes,
You can't.
Yes. Let me give you just one example, little example. There was this election, I think, when late Governor Akala, after the 11 months, contested again.
I think that was the same election I was talking about.
Yes. There was this, okay, it was around
2011.
night. They were now conveying the results. One guy now called me, said, Atiwole. I said, Atiwole.
Well, listen.
Everybody was, they were jubilating. It was just one local government, Ibadan Southwest local government, that, just dabarooed everything. Akala did not enter again. I think that was when Ajimobi defeated him the first time. Then, so some of those examples, they did occur. Like I said, you have already known that, yes.
Some more
When you
people.
voted, you are thinking that, yes. But at the same time,
Yes.
when the votes are being counted, you don't see that.
It is wrong for anybody to win in a polling booth or in a ward unit and say you have won the election. In a situation where so many polling booths and so many wards will contribute to your success, until when you say maybe you've seen the result in about maybe 80 to 90%, and you know you are leading, then you can have the confidence that I'm likely to win.
Yes.
Otherwise, and that's why sometimes it causes a problem for even the followers. In fact, sometimes it's the followers that create the problem for the politician, because they voted for him, and because they voted for him, they believe that people in other places also voted for him. Look at what happened among the governors. I think it was under Goodluck Jonathan. 36 of them, they voted. The candidate that they were expecting to win didn't win. In a small room, what happened? They counted, they are 36. Some of the people that promised that they were going to vote for one governor didn't vote for that governor. They voted for somebody else. And that governor was already assuming that
He had won.
because he did that before the election, and they promised that so anybody can go the other way. Maybe the other candidate paid more, and they just decided that if this candidate is paying more, why don't we go with him?
Yes. Now, before we leave, Mr. Ojasope, some stakeholders are calling for the forensic audit of the 2023 elections spending before approving the 2027 budget. Is this demand reasonable?
You asking? You're just asking me about money. Normally we should call for audit, not just for INEC spending, generally for prudence. But because we don't have institutions, that's why these things are getting to us. There are other institutions that are supposed to vet, scrutinize some of this spending. If you're talking about INEC now, even Nigeria is still running 2024 budget till now and 2025 budget. So if the whole country is still running 2024 and 2025, why are we now talking about INEC spending in the last election? So there are no check and balances. There are no scrutiny. So, like I said, let's focus on credibility of elections.
Yes, I think we all agree on that. We need credible elections.
Yes.
But how do we get the credible elections?
Yes.
How do we trust each other?
Yeah.
Then that when I lose, I will accept that I've really lost. It's not all the time that we need to go to the court and for the court to decide.
Yes. Yes, sir. I want to thank you both, Professor Babatunde Adegoke, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And yes, Mr. Rotimi Johnson, Ojasope, a political analyst too. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
It's always a
And
pleasure.
yes, they really delved into these matters, the 2027 polls, why arguments on e-transmission, and the over 1 trillion naira INEC budget. Yes, I know people, the layman, they have been educated on all these things that we have just thrown to the people. Yes, I want to thank my producer, Yemi Alao, assistant producer, Mutiu Ogunwale, and the supervising producer, Bumi Oyedemi, and of course, my executive producer, Dotun Olaiton. Yes, I want to thank you all. And my name is Bimbo Akombi. Next week, Tuesday, we'll come your way again with another edition of Matters Arising on BCOS television, right here in the city of Ibadan. My name is Bimbo Akombi. Enjoy your afternoon.